to Let's Talk episode 24. Let's talk about Sabrina Carpenter. And today I have with me a special guest, a little blast from the past.
Yes.
My old friend Hannah Northway. So Hannah, we were just talking about, I was like, I'm struggling. I don't know how to really, intro you. I'm like, because it's one of those things where like, we just ran a lot in the same circles. We saw a lot of each other just everywhere, but we never would hang out one-on-one and stuff. But we would hang out in groups and we'd see each other. And you reminded me of the great prom homeschool war from my junior year of high school.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And this was serious. This was a very serious thing.
We were not playing. Like when I tell people, we were literally at war with the other group planning another prom. I remember I was sitting in choir on a Friday afternoon, because it was always Friday afternoons, and we intentionally didn't set a date until the other group announced their date so we could put it after so that somebody could go to the other prom and feel it out, which, like you said, we can go into all that, but it was a whole thing. We were not playing. We did not play homeschool dances at all.
No, especially because then they tried to set the date for the same, then they tried to change their date and do it the same night as ours.
Yes.
It was a war. But anyways.
It was all of the adults doing this too against kids.
Oh, yeah.
Which was crazy.
I know. And I was like, and then people were like, I can't come to either one. And people were like, I guess I don't have a prom. It was a lot. And I mean, I'm a very competitive lady. And so I took that very seriously. And I mean, our prom was better. It was the best one. I don't care what anybody else says.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But anyways, give the people a little bit more of an intro of yourself besides one time we went on a homeschool prom war.
Prom. Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Like Anna said, I'm Hannah. We know each other because we were homeschooled. Our parents were also friends for years. I want to say we might have gone to church together at one point. I don't know which one it would have been. Probably like way back when, but
okay, yeah.
I don't remember not knowing you. We'll just say that.
That's fair. That's very fair. It's like one of those things where like I feel like I've known you my whole entire life, essentially.
Right. And yeah, it's so funny because we never hung out, but we ran in the same circles and we knew all the same people. So yeah, I don't know how that works.
I feel like I feel like there was maybe one time. Like your sister and I hung out. I feel like there was like one time where we did that. Like maybe did like a winter jam or something like that together. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And I feel like at one point we might have had a couple play dates when your mom would come over and hang out with my mom and talk homeschool stuff. Yeah. Or something like that. But yeah. Other than that, well, I was homeschooled K through 12. That's a fun fact about me. Absolutely loved it. I grew up in Iowa, in Des Moines, which is the capital city, and now I currently live down in Florida, and I am loving it, absolutely loving it. It's so beautiful. I don't miss the snow at all. I will say, like the first snow or whatever, if you get a little snow on Christmas Eve, other than that, I don't like to drive in it. The cold, no. So I'm loving my heat, and
I feel like if I had to live anywhere but Iowa, I'd probably pick Florida.
Because
it's just so pretty.
But one thing I will tell you, giant spiders.
Ooh, I don't like that part. Maybe not then.
And gators, but we don't live by any water, so it's okay. But
so you're like, it's fine.
It's fine. We're fine,
Well, today I thought that, so I really have been wanting to do this topic for a while, which was primarily talking about just like promiscuity and like sexuality like within women in like our culture, because I mean, we have a unique perspective as well being homeschooled, because I feel like the purity culture and like we were just talking about like courting and all of that, like that was pressured onto, maybe not you and I, but a lot of the people that we were in or the circles that we were in. And we kind of watched people go one route, which would have been the super pure, the super courting. And we watched other people go the other route, which was not super pure and not super courting. And so it's like, we kind of watched these two worlds happen. And my friend and I were just having this discussion too, like songs that I'm hearing on the radio, I'm like, this would have never played on the radio when I was a kid, or like certain words that they're not bleeping anymore that I'm like, okay, wow, we can say that on the radio, or like people on the radio, when you hear them in the morning, are having like after, like morning breaks on the radio talking about sex and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, then I guess like this is stuff that we just like are like talking about, you know what I'm saying? And so
out there and open, 100%.
And I felt like one of the biggest ones was an artist named Sabrina Carpenter. And I feel like she was the best example because she is probably the most, I mean, in my opinion, the most popular pop singer right now.
Right.
And she was from around kind of our generation with Disney Channel and all that stuff. And so for people who don't know, Sabrina Carpenter kind of got her start on Disney Channel on the show Girl Meets World, which was the spinoff of Boy Meets World, an awful spinoff. I mean, the show is awful. It's so bad. It's so cringe. It's so awful. But that's where she got her start. And then she kind of did some Disney Channel songs, which we'll get into later. In my opinion, she kind of just fell off the face of the planet. Like, she had like maybe 30 fans following her around the world, and that was kind of it. Then all of a sudden, she came out with this song. I think it was, what it would have been, Espresso would have probably been the one that all of a sudden she just was everywhere. Like, I heard her everywhere. I'm like, you've got your drink at Dunkin', you're like singing at these concerts, all of this stuff. And we'll get into that. But that's kind of a little bit of her background. And so, I mean, I'm sure you watched Disney Channel growing up. I was
for sure. Yeah.
A Disney Channel connoisseur, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I thought we would first talk about what we remember about the Disney Channel from when we were younger. Like, what kind of were the themes of that compared to, obviously what is being portrayed now. So what do you kind of remember from that age?
So, I don't know. When you send me the list, I really had to rack my brain because it's been literal years since I've watched Disney Channel, or even the stuff that I used to watch, like Sweet Life on Deck, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, all the, to me, OG shows, I felt like it was very big on family in a certain way. Like, for example, actually, I did watch the Hannah Montana movie a few weeks back, and it was really big on, Miley was getting really big in the head about going on world tours and kind of getting, a little snobby in a way, and not making time for Lily, I think her name was. She missed her birthday party. It was like a whole thing. And then, so her dad flew her back to Montana or Nashville, somewhere like that, to
One of them,
back to her roots with her family. They got the hoedown, throwdown.
Yes.
And it was really sweet. Like I haven't seen that movie in years, but I was like, this is a good reminder. Like all the money, all the glitz, all the glam, like family is what really matters. Other than that, like I don't know, like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, it was just very much like looking out for each other, and you make mistakes, you hurt each other, but I don't know, you forget. I don't know, just very childlike, heartfelt themes, I would say, is what I remember.
So I listen to the Disney Channel songs weekly. This is like a weekly occurrence for me. I'm listening to this. Like, how when we were kids, our parents would listen to like their 80s and 70s and 60s. Like that's me, but like Disney Channel. Like I'm like the mom that's like doing the dishes, singing. We're all in this together for my school musical. Okay, so that's who I am. And like I would agree, the themes, family and like friendship and looking out for each other. But one of the songs that always sticks out to me is from High School Musical 2, when Troy is on the golf course and he's singing Bet on It. And he's like talking about it. And the lyrics always stand out to me because if you read them, he's talking about what it means to become a man. He's basically breaking it down in the sense of like, am I, like, is this the kind of person that I want to be, and like having this internal struggle? And it's funny because it's like these movies are so cheesy and it's so silly, but it's like some of the themes like you're talking about, like even just like bringing like her dad looking out for her, themes like that to us we're like, oh yeah, that's Hannah Montana the movie, but it's like now kids aren't seeing that. They're not seeing the movies where it's like the dad is like, you know what, I need to be a dad and step in, or like with Troy in High School Musical 2, and it sounds so silly, but it's like he's having this whole internal struggle, like, am I going to turn on my friends, or am I going to be a better person than that? And it's like you don't see all of these like more introspective themes anymore. And it's like for example with the Girl Meets World show that Sabrina Carpenter was on, like they tried to kind of do this where they like have these like, but it's like they tried too much with themes that like no child is like, nobody's dealing like with any of these things. Or it's like one of the episodes, like one of the characters finds out that he could be like on the autism spectrum, and literally their reactions to that, they're like, you can't be, no, and they get like mad. And it's like, if I was a child finding out that I could possibly be on the autism spectrum, watching this and his friends are like getting pissed at him, I'd be like, okay, it's like this how people, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
send me this episode after this.
It's crazy. I'm watching it, I'm like what? Or like even when you're talking about like boys, for example, right? And you're talking about like, I'll never forget the Hannah Montana episode where Jake cheats on Hannah and he cheats on Miley. And it's like, but it's like, instead of being like, oh girl, go get back at him, like go get your revenge, like it was a very like serious moment. It was very like, well, then we're done. Like, we're not going to do this. Like, and if like compared to themes that you see in like kids' movies or like kids' TV shows today, because like the same girl from Girl Meets World, not Sabrina Carpenter, but the one who was the lead, who played Riley, she went on just a few years ago to do this movie like all about like being a lesbian and all of this stuff, but it was like super explicit, like actively like talking about sex and all this stuff. And it's like, these are the Disney Channel icons, not like of really ours, but like of a newer generations. Like they're watching like Riley from Girl Meets World go from being like, oh dad, I love you, to being like, how do I do oral on a woman? Like the craziest like stuff that like, yeah, you're right. Like we were kind of talking about this a little bit before, seeing, like Miley Cyrus going from like, I might even be a rock star to like can't be tamed. But even that is like, okay, like that's not as crazy.
Huge deal too when that came out. Like I love,
but it's like song, compared to
what it is now. Yeah.
Yes. And, like, that's the crazy part, because, like, even Wrecking Ball, for example, like, that didn't come out until we were, like, years and years and years past. Versus, like, some of these kids had just watched Sabrina Carpenter on movies 3-4 years ago. And it's, like, now they're, like, seeing her, doing stuff on stage. And so going from that, some of the popular messages, like you were talking about, friendship and family and, like, watching people just like uplift each other and encourage each other and looking out for each other. Like I don't watch Disney Channel now because I just can't even bring myself to, I don't even know what they're airing. But I thought that we would kind of read some of the lyrics from Sabrina Carpenter's old songs and kind of just like get the vibe of them.
Yeah,
like kind of just like comparing the vibe. So this is what, and my younger sister Zoe was a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan.
She was?
Huge.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
Huge. So this is from her song. It's called Can't Blame a Girl for Trying. Do you remember this song?
Yes, I looked it up.
Okay. And this came out 11 years ago. And here's some of the lyrics, okay? It says, 'cause I'm young and I'm dumb, and I do stupid things when it comes to love. And even if I always end up crying, well, you can't blame a girl for trying. So initial reaction, cute.
Little teeny bopper, first crush,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if I was 14, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I feel that way. You know, like, you know, it's not like, it's not like we're, you know, the next Shakespeare, but we're all right.
Yes.
We're good. Okay,
yeah,
it's like, oh, that's cute.
I actually do remember that song, I think, when it came out very briefly, actually.
And then another popular song of hers, Thumbs, which is so awful, but some of the, because I remember these from Zoe and it's so bad. But here's some of the lyrics. It says, somewhere in the world, you've got a robber and a bank, and the bank robbed the people, so the people robbed the bank, and the police came to get him, but they let him get away because they're all just working to get paid the very same. So a little, all right.
Are we getting... Like, are we getting into politics here? Like, how?
So, like, okay. It's like, and some of the other lyrics are so weird. Let me look them up. I'm going to look them up right now. Like, it's a very odd song. So, like, somewhere in the world there is a father and a mother, and the father is a son who has a mother. The mother has a daughter who gets married to the brother of a mother, and they're all just trying to multiply with one another.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what she was trying to do there, but
yes.
I'm just like,
but it's also like,
write it all out.
Yeah, but it's also like, I feel like still we're kind of like, it's a younger girl trying to relate, but it's, again, we're not, you know, it's not anything where I'm like, wow, that's, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Like, that's just kind of, it's awful. It's awful. But it's not like.
What year did that song come out?
Let's see.
Thumbs. Oh, sorry. I could have looked it up too.
No, you're fine. Let's see. Thumbs 2016. So almost 10 years ago.
So I feel like she was maybe, because I feel like with these Disney stars, maybe Nickelodeon too, but I was not a huge Nickelodeon kid growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Once they hit this high school, like almost out of high school, almost hitting 18, they're trying to break out of this childlike persona.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's what she was trying to do with that. I don't know, but kids, I feel like kids are not really going to pick up on that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, it's like, I feel like Disney Channel kid stars grew up to think that it was bad that people viewed them like as such. So that it was bad that people viewed them like Miley Cyrus. Like, she was like, I don't want people to view me as Hannah Montana. Or like, for example, I do you remember Ross Lynch from Austin and Ally and like Teen Beach Movie?
Yes.
So he like has a band with his brothers, and my sister's obsessed with him, and I went with her to his concert. It was so uncomfortable. Like, I'm 24 years old, I'm married, and these girls, like, he takes his shirt off, and these girls like lose their mind to the point where I'm like, ladies, go like go outside, like meet a man or something. This is so uncomfortable. Like, to the point where it's not like, oh woo, like one girl I look and she's crying, and I'm like, sis, just like Google shirtless pic. Anyways, but back to I'm like, calm down, take a breath. Anyways, but I'm there, and like, you could tell like he was actively getting upset when people would say things like about him like being from Teen Beach Movie, or like calling him like Austin Moon from Austin Alley. And it's like, I've never understood like why you're upset about like you were a kid doing kid stuff. But it's like, I feel like that's like the culture we're in. It's like kids feel this immense pressure to be so much older than they actually are. And they want to break, like, they don't want to be seen as a kid. They want to break out of this mold. Like, do you agree with that?
Yes, 100%. I think even more so now, because I don't know if you saw my Instagram post yesterday, but I was on Facebook, and I went into my old archived pictures that are not out to the public, because I got my Facebook when I was 9. Okay, no idea why my mom let me get it, but there's that. And I was going through like all of my pictures that I took on my little iPod Touch, you know, looking real cute back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, kids these days do not have an awkward face, like, at all.
Yeah.
I was going through my pictures, and I was like, we were just being kids and just being awkward and having fun.
And enjoying it though. Like enjoying it.
Right. Like,
and embracing
I feel
it.
like we didn't have the pressure that's on kids now. And I will say there are parents out there doing a really good job of letting their kids be kids. Like, even now, I think it's so weird because I was literally just at Target the other day and walking down the Barbie aisle. And I was like, I used to go crazy going down the Barbie aisle. Excuse me. I feel like I never see kids like playing with toys. I don't know. It's just weird. I was also on Instagram too the other day, and I have a friend. I want to say her daughter's maybe like 6 or 7, so a little bit younger. But she posted a picture of her playing with her American Girl doll. And it just made my heart so happy because I'm like, that was my childhood, you know? And I feel like we just you don't see a lot of that anymore. I don't know.
Well, I also feel like it's the changing of social media too, because like back when we like first got Instagrams, it was like pictures of, it was no pressure. It wasn't to gain followers or really even to like gain likes. Like you would just post like a picture of the street and be like, I just walked down it. You know what I'm saying? Like the dumbest stuff, like, but just to be like fun because it was just funny. Or like, and then all of a sudden Instagram became some, you know, popularity contest and it had to be like super creative and it had to be super edited. And then, for example, and then it started off as Vine. Like Vine was a blast. That was so fun. And the videos, I watch those and I still like laugh my butt off because it's just stupid.
Long.
Seconds. And it was just funny, stupid stuff that it's like nobody cares about this, but it's just funny. And now it's like, and you know, I have a TikTok and I watch that, but it's like it will never be the same as like Vine, because Vine was just silly, stupid stuff. And now it's like TikTok is like, some people still kind of do that every now and then, but it's more like it has to be again like over edited, a production, like people are like having to think of it. And so it's like, that's the difference too. It's because like we didn't have, you know, like our style influencers like Bethany Moda. Do you remember her? Like way back in the day. But she was posting like, my breakfast in the morning was like a simple smoothie and eggs. It wasn't, you have to go to your local Whole Foods and you have to buy the $20 foie gras and cook it at the you know, like it wasn't like that. She was like, come with me to shop the Kmart Miley Cyrus collection. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, go with me to my local boutique where everything's $100 and your body has to look like mine. Like, and it wasn't this whole like all of this pressure. And so I feel like it's like it's one, your parents, because your parents have such a huge role to play in your childhood. But two, it's like the growth of social media. And that's why it's like, it was one thing to let us as children have a funny Instagram, a funny Facebook, a funny this. And it's dangers then, but it wasn't like so much pressure. But it's like nowadays, like with my daughter Autumn, she's 1. Like I'm hoping to never let her have and Instagram and things like that until she can prove to me that she's emotionally mature enough to be prepared and handle that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And oh, no,
you go ahead. No, you go.
I will say too, like, I even had friends in our homeschool circles who didn't get phones or smartphones, which I feel like back then, so 15 to 18, somewhere in there, smartphones were like kind of becoming more of a thing. But girl, we had those flip up phones with the keyboard. A lot of kids didn't get phones or social media until they started driving too, which my family, we had the iPod touches, we had the iPads, you know, all the things, but they were heavily monitored by our parents, which now I'm thankful for. Back in the day, I complained and I was like, it's so lame, you know, but I'm thankful for that, you know. But yeah, I just feel like now Like sometimes I'll be on TikTok and do they call it the For You page? Like the random, sometimes you get like suggested people or whatever. I'll see kids on there so young, and I'm like, do your parents know you're on here? Like, I feel like I need to make sure they're,
Comment, what is your mom's phone number? Yeah.
Where's your mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I don't know. It's just crazy. But at the same time, I was also on Omegle with my friends at sleepovers at a ripe age of 11, 12,
That's
okay. Back.
Wow. That's a calling me out throwback. That's a, like, I'm over here telling you that I'm not going to allow my daughter to have social media. And I was also on Omegle doing that at 10.
I feel like our parents had no idea what Omegle was,
Oh, no. And I never told my family ever. They had no idea. I didn't tell them until years later. I was like, yeah, like Omegle. And they were like,
what's that?
What? And I was like, you guys remember, like, you just chat with literally video chat with random strangers. And they're like, I don't. And I was like, oh, well, have a good night. Thank God I'm an adult and I have my own house and I can leave this place because you do this.
Oh my God.
But it's like, I don't even know. Why is it that I'm feeling like the vibe was different even back then with that, though? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But because it was like, we knew it. I feel like the difference is we knew it wasn't good.
Right.
Versus now, that's just normal to just talk to random people and post random crap and follow the trends. And it doesn't help, too, that so many social media influencers, too, are so young but trying to act so old. Versus, like, Bethany Moda, who I just mentioned. Like, she was young and was acting young.
Mm-hmm.
She was the girl that was like, let's read The Fault in Our Stars, because that was her age group. Like, she was being her age versus a Charlie D'Amelio who's like, come with me while I do my ketamine shots of the day or whatever. And she's freaking 15. I'm like, what? I'm like, when I was 15, I was like not even remotely close to any of this stuff. And it's like, that's kind of why one of the reasons why I picked Sabrina Carpenter specifically is because not only is she a heavy influence on social media, she's also a super heavy influence on music, which I would say has sometimes even a bigger influence over how we act. Because like back when I was going through my most craziest of phases, if you looked at music I was listening to then versus music I listen to now, it's like, okay, I'm understanding the correlation between your behavior and the music you were listening to.
Right. Which is so crazy because I always think of that verse. And I'm sorry, I hate quoting scripture without giving the reference, so I'll look it up so we can put it on here, whatever. But my dad would always say, guard your heart, for everything flows from it. And back in the day, I'd be like, whatever, like, I'm just listening to my, I don't know, One Direction or Justin Bieber or whoever it was. But no, like, when I was off doing my own thing, the BC, before Christ days, the music I listened to was so crazy. I was literally just doing the most. So it makes sense. It makes complete sense.
My husband Steven and I, we've tried to, like, we'll go back and sometimes and be like, oh, do you remember this song? And we'll put it on and I'll be like,
literally the memories are unlocked. You're like, what's happening?
And then I'm like, wait, this song says that? I'm like,
I know. It's like, wow, this is actually terrible.
And it's like, and that's not to say you only have to listen to Christian music. Like, I'm not one of those people either. It's like, like, still have fun and like listen to fun music every now and then. But sometimes, it's like the difference between like, oh yeah, this is a silly little tune, a fun song, versus like, it's like words that I can't even, repeat like ever. It's like if I were to pull up the lyrics to some of these songs, I'd be like reading every 8th word. Like, it's that kind of music where I'm like, and I would know all the words. Like and my friends and I, like in high school, like we would be blaring these songs and like singing the words, and I would listen to these and be like,
I know. I know.
It's crazy. But anyways.
Yeah.
So going to one of Sabrina Carpenter's most recent songs. So she came out with Espresso. That was a big one. And this is the problem with her music is it's so catchy.
Yes.
Like it's the type of music that you'd be like.
I think it's intentional too.
Yeah. That you want to listen to, that you like want to play to the point where like I even had like some of her music on my stuff because it's just catchy. Like it's just fun to be like, da, 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 and you're just kind of in the car singing it until you like actually think through it and you're like, okay,
you're like,
I don't know about that. You're like, maybe not. Yeah. I like how you described that. My BC days. I like that.
Hey.
Yeah.
You know,
that's true.
We all go through it, but it just makes you realize how much you need Jesus more and how much more loving and sovereign he is, because he can get all his kids. He can get all his kids. He leaves them 99, that's for sure.
This is one of her newest songs. It's called Taste. And this is a portion of the lyrics that I picked. It says, I heard you're back together, and if that's true, you'll just have to taste me when he's kissing you. If you want forever, and I bet you do, just know that you'll taste me too. So we went from, because I'm young and I'm dumb and I do stupid things when it comes to love, to you'll just have to taste me when he's kissing you. So this is a point that I want to make before we like get too involved in this. Is my friend Jessica and I were actually having this conversation because I was telling her that I was going to do this episode. And she was kind of making the argument that, you know, she's an adult and she's not a Christian. And so it's like she's going to come out and say crazy things like this that are crazy to us, but that aren't crazy to her. Or she's going to come out, you know, and, you know, encourage people to do this kinds of stuff. And my friend Jess actually said that the bigger problem is the parents that are allowing their children to listen to this music or allowing their children to go to the concerts, which we'll touch on the concerts after this. But it's like, I do agree with that to a certain extent.
Right.
But I think the problem is when it's like, for example, it's like Taylor Swift. You know, thankfully a lot of her fans grew up with her. It's like I'm 24. And so it's like when she was making music for her that age group, I was that age group, and now she's making music for this age group. So it's like she doesn't have like, yes, she has younger fans, but I would say that a lot of her fans are older because they grew up with her.
Yeah, I agree
but
with that.
But Taylor Swift has even come out and said, "Hey, for some of my younger fans, like I'm an adult. I'm gonna, you know, for the parents out there, I'm going to use words that aren't good. You know, I'm going to talk about things that maybe, but because I've heard her talk about these things, so it's like she's come out and been like, "Hey, I'm just letting you know, like this is my reasoning." Sabrina Carpenter is, I think, around my age, right? I want to say maybe a little bit younger. Okay, no, she's 26. So she is 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And so, but it's like, and that's fair because when you're an adult and you don't have the same morals that we do, you're going to sing about things like this. You're going to talk about things like this. Right. I think the difference for me though is, you know, that a lot of these kids are growing up with you. Like they're watching you on Disney Channel and doing things and everything else. And it's like, if Taylor Swift can come out and be like, hey, just so you guys know I'm going to talk about this stuff, it's like, okay, that, like, thank you for that. Like, thank you for saying, like, hey, versus Sabrina Carpenter, where it's like, there's absolutely no age limit on her concerts. And there's no, you know, interviews where she's kind of talking about, hey, just so you guys know, like, I'm an adult and I'm going to talk about this. And, you know, when Taylor Swift says it, it's not like she's then going out and say, you're going to be tasting me when you're kissing other women or other men. Yeah. It's, you know, like, oh, talking about, you know, sex, but without saying sex. It's like, you know, very like innuendo-y, but we're understanding the gist of what she's saying. And so versus just like outright talking about this kind of stuff. What is your viewpoint on that? Because I do agree with my friend Jess about, yes, it's more so on adults, but I also think, hey, you know, like it's kind of on her as well for writing so explicitly about things when things could be written in a more of an innuendo-y, kind of like more of like a Taylor Swift. So what are your thoughts on that?
Right. Yeah, I see kind of both sides of the coin because one, I'm not even a parent yet. I'm single Pringle. I don't, you know, the Lord's doing his thing. So, like, I can't even imagine, like, taking my kid to this or letting them listening to that, my kids are going to be listening to Kids Bop. Okay? That's a closest they're going to get.
Kids Bop Karen. We've got Kids Bop Karen right here.
Yep. They can listen to Kids Bop. I listened to Kids Bop and I loved it. Okay? But yeah, no, like, I do think it is the parents' responsibility, but I do think it's kind of funny that her image is just very young and childlike and baby doll-like. But, you know, but she's just
that's a good point.
This very, like, hypersexual.
I'm going to insert some pictures of some of her outfits because I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, even the, like, literally called, like, the baby doll nightgowns that she wears all the time. Or, like, recently she went under fire because of, like, a photo shoot that she did. It was very similar to a movie called Lolita, which is basically, I mean, it's if you know the story, it's essentially about, the movie is about a girl who is continually raped and assaulted and groomed by her stepfather. And recently, I'll have to put up the pictures of those too. She did a photo shoot that is extremely similar to that. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't like how she's making herself childlike. Like, I don't know. I just feel like she's trying to ruffle feathers. And I know with, you know, the entertainment industry, publicity is publicity. It makes money, you know, so they know what they're doing. But yeah.
Well, and even going from that, at her concerts, I kind of touched on this, but I sent you that video, and I might put some of that video in here so other people can be scarred from that. But you know, one of her most popular trends from her song Juno, which I'm assuming is based off of the movie Juno, about the girl who gets pregnant as a teenager.
Yes, I think it is.
So, LOL. So that's another thing too. It's like
fever dream to me.
Yeah. I tried to rewatch it, like, I think sometime last year, and I was like, okay, this is so odd. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it was one of those things where I'm watching it and I like feel weird. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But the girl literally gets pregnant at 16, and so like you talking about her, and it's like, oh God, and people being like, oh, she's an adult, let her sing. But it's like, she wrote a song about wanting to get pregnant and named Juno, and Juno is based off of a story about a 16-year-old girl who got pregnant. So I'm like, okay. But during that song, one of her like popular things at her concerts is to ask, have you ever tried this one, and to do a sexual position on stage. And at first, like, they started kind of tame, like it'd be like her just like laying on the ground, and obviously everybody can kind of like get the vibe from that. But then it was like way too much, like things like that's a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it. And so, I mean, what are your open-ended thoughts, I mean, on that? Because I've never seen that. Like when I went to see Taylor Swift at the Eras tour, right? Iconic. Gosh, that was so cool. And but the most that she did was like some dancing with a chair that you would see, that I was like, this isn't that crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, her butt was to the audience, and so I'm sure a lot of people like watching this are gonna be like, her butt was to the audience. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, okay, like that's kind of it compared to the thing. Like, compared to, have you ever tried this one? And like fondling a microphone, that's nothing. Okay, and so it's like I see that, and I'm like, that's not that crazy.
Where it's like her shadow. It's just I don't know. It's crazy because I feel like we kind of like fell in this weird in between stage with our generation, because before us there was like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, and I don't know if you watched their music videos back in the day, but they were going
that's fair.
ham. They were going ham, you know what I'm saying? And then like, you know, we got like Miley Cyrus, I guess, Demi Lovato, but
even that, it's like,
it wasn't.
It was, again, more of the innuendo stuff where it's like, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but you're not saying it. You're not literally going, have you ever tried this sex position? Missionary. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know. It's just
like, that's the truth. Yes. That's the truth.
Yes, it's just so open, in your face, blatant, but God forbid, don't sexualize women. Don't sexualize women, you know. And I'm just like, I don't know. It drives me insane, but it's something else. Honestly, I don't even know if I would want to go see that. Most likely not.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's other artists, I won't say any names because it's a little controversial, but like, I watch clips from their concerts and I'm like, I don't want to pay to see this. Like, I feel like this should be behind closed doors, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah. It's something else.
It's this, and that's a good point too. The Britney Spears and the Christina Aguilera and all of that kind of stuff, because that is fair. The music videos and all of that, but because it is like, it's close-ups on their body and it's very like sensual and all that stuff. But like, I feel like when I watch that, like, I get more of a sexual but a sensual vibe. Does that make sense? Like, I'm in tune with my body, and that's not to say it's right, but it's to say it's more like I'm embracing this versus like this Sabrina Carpenter stuff, or like I loved Olivia Rodrigo's first album. I loved it. The second album was, again, and then the concerts, for some reason, she started handing out like Plan B pills at her concerts. I heard that sometimes like Planned Parenthood would park outside and like be available for questions and things like that. But it's like, what is that? Like, I get that every generation has their own thing. Like the Britney Spears, like, I'm sure people were like losing their minds over that. But for some reason, I feel like this time it's meaningless sex and meaningless not caring versus like I'm so sensual and I am in tune with myself versus here's your Plan B pills tonight. Have fun, everybody. And have you ever tried this one? Sex, and all of this stuff. It's like there's this difference between being, you know, I'm being innuendo-y and I'm kind of talking about it, but I'm not. And I'm showing you stuff, but I'm not. Versus just like letting it all out there. And and that's the thing too, is there's no age barriers or anything at these concerts. And maybe that's a parent problem too, because when we're talking about like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, you know, I'm sure that there were parents who were like, absolutely not, and all of this stuff and everything else, versus like you see all these little kids like going to these Sabrina Carpenter concerts dressed up in like Victoria's Secret lingerie, because that was the trend for these concerts, to go to Victoria's Secret and buy lingerie for the concerts. And you're seeing like 13-year-olds doing this and all of this stuff, and it's like it's I feel like, in my mind, people like Sabrina Carpenter and Sabrina Carpenter herself are influencing this younger generation more so than, because I started really seeing this encouragement of meaningless sex and doing whatever you want with your body when I was probably about 18, 19, because that's when I really fell into it, because it was becoming such a big thing with like the rise of Tinder and all of that kind of stuff, and Bumble, and you could just meet people and leave and never do it. And my like all of these girls in my life were like, oh, guys do it, like just go out and do it, like be powerful, like this is women power. And it's like, I kind of thought, like you were making a side comment about, like, I kind of thought we were getting away from that, this whole like sexualizing women and doing all of this kind of stuff. But it's like people like Sabrina Carpenter are almost kind of pulling us back in this sense of like, I don't want to just be, have you ever tried this sexual position? Like, I don't want to just be, you know, tasting you and all. Like, there's more than, like, that's why it's like, that's why, to bring up just Taylor Swift, because we were talking about it, like, there's more to her music than just, you know, sex. Like, there's more intricate songs about friendships and, you know, her parents and, you know, boyfriends, but the relationship side and the breaking apart of that versus tasting you and all this stuff. So do you feel like Sabrina Carpenter is influencing this younger generation?
Yes, 100% I do. I think it's crazy because, like, I'll put myself on blast right now. My BC days before Christ, I totally bought into, you know, the giant hookup culture, and it's empowering, and oh my gosh, I said it so many times, you know, guys do it, so, you know, you do it, you know, whatever. And I will say, which, I mean, I'll talk about myself, but I've had this conversation with many other girlfriends. They've said the same thing. You feel more empty than ever because I believe, you know, we're made for connection. And when you're just out here pop, lock, and drop in with everybody, you know, it's, you want connection. We're not made to just be with whoever, whenever, you know. And I think it's funny because these artists, whoever it may be, and going back, touching on the whole Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, like I said, that was before us. So I don't know how the concerts were. I don't know how the media handled it. My pastime, I love to watch music videos because back in the day, they were like movies, okay?
Yeah.
But they were crazy. I'm like, I had no idea they were doing it like that back in the day, you know? But, yeah, they're just glorifying hookup culture and, you know, what you can get out of your looks and your body. And I remember, like, when I was way in the trenches, I was literally using my body for male attention, like to get attention from guys because I didn't know my own worth, but I knew that if I dress in a certain way, if I, you know, all the things, I can get what I want. But like I said, it ultimately just left me empty. And I feel like we're just promoting this whole agenda, like, use your body, do what you want, you're a woman, whatever. But men, I would get pissed off when I'd put myself out there with a certain image or act a certain way or whatever, and then men would only want me for my body. You know what I'm saying? And some people might get their feathers ruffled with this, but it's like, what do you expect? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's really, obviously I was older in that time too. I wasn't a child, but I just think it's really damaging because we're like, oh, well, Sabrina Carpenter is so pretty and she can sing well and she's so successful and she dresses like this, she acts like this, and everybody loves her. Girl, if you're a normal girl, you're acting like that, like, yeah, you know, you'll probably get a lot of attention, some good, maybe some bad, but like, it's not really what you want. And I feel like that's what they're promoting, and it's just so dangerous. I feel like, especially when you're a young girl, you know, going through puberty, it was something else. I'm so glad I don't ever have to do that ever again.
Yes.
But, you know, it's just so much more pressure now, I feel like. And, you know, women like Sabrina are not helping that, I feel like. We have so many filters, so much lip filler. We're getting our bodies done. Like, I remember I used to be obsessed with Kylie Jenner, and for a fact, like, she got her body done like way before BBLs were even like popular. People were talking about it, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, like, I want Kylie Jenner's body. Like, there was a time where I was doing, you know, the Kylie Jenner diet, whatever. I found it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, just things like that. So this started ramping up, I feel like, towards when I was in high school, which was better, but, you know, your brain's still developing, you're still awkward.
But it's like now even middle schoolers, like I'm seeing, like my husband and I were at the mall here in Iowa, and I'm seeing like these extremely young girls, and their butt is hanging out of their shorts. And they're wearing a crop top. And I'm like, I never wore that stuff, though. Like, my parents are like, oh, you know, when you were younger. I'm like, no. Like, people who are my age, we weren't wearing this stuff when I was 12. Okay? I was wearing, like, leggings and the cheapest top from Justice that my parents would allow me to buy. Okay? Like, I was not wearing, and it was, like, sporty. You know, it was like sport girl, you know, or I was wearing like God girl, Jamie Grace, you know what I'm saying? Like I was not wearing like freaking white wife beater as a 12-year-old with like butt hanging out jeans.
Just even bras sometimes. I'm like, but again, it's like, we're the parents. Like, to me, that's the first thought that, you know, I think. I mean, I will say back in the day, like, I was really into Hollister, not gonna lie. So I always think of those like itty bitty Hollister booty shorts. I love those in the summertime. But yeah, like we weren't wearing crop tops. Like we had like high-low tops, but it was still like young and childlike in a way. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's just.
Well, because it's like, you know what just popped into my head, though, too? Like, we had Justice. Or do you remember, like, Libby Lou?
Yes.
Or,
Delia's,
you know, like.
Or Dahlia's. Yes. Yes.
Delia's. Mm-hmm. Like, name one younger girls store today. Because, like, I'm thinking right now, like, there is none that are, like, actively targeting. Like, there's no Justice. There's no Delia's. There's no Libby Lou. And even, like, Forever 21, like I know it says it in the name Forever 21, but even back then they were selling like things for like they had that section for like younger girls. And it's like I just had that thought in my brain right now that's like there is no store at the mall anymore that like targets directly towards 10, 11, 12-year-old girls. It's we're all grouped together. It's I'm shopping, you know, at American Eagle for my jeans, and I'm looking over to my left and I'm like, why 9-year-old do you need that tube top? But I'm like, but you don't have another place. You don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah. And I would say that's even intentional too, you know, but I know Walmart sells like a tiny little section of Justice over in the, like, I don't know what they call, not juniors. I don't know.
Like the tween, I guess, maybe still. Is that what they call them anymore?
That is. But yeah, like we had Justice. I don't know if Libby Lou sold clothes, but that was really bougie back in the day. Forever 21, Wet Seal. Like it was just very young and like just girly and youthful. And now, like, as you're saying this, I think it was Target too the other day looking at clothes, you know, browsing, and like there's little tops, little shorts for like the little girls. And I'm like, why can't they just like wear like, you know, youthful full coverage stuff? Like, I feel like it's just so much pressure for them to grow up. And like I'm so thankful, like I've gotten to live 25 years on this earth. God has been so good. But I do look back sometimes and I'm like, I wish I didn't want to grow up like so fast, because I had a very good childhood and I'm very thankful for that. Yeah, good times, girl, you know. But like I don't know if we said this on the record or off the record, but I made the comment saying how back in the day I loved going down the Barbie aisle at Walmart or Target or wherever. It was all pink. We had Barbie Landia, like literally tubs and tubs of Barbies, and we would set up a whole city. And I feel like I don't even see kids really in the toy aisles anymore. Like I know kids get like the collectible stuff or whatever, but
it's like they don't want to be kids anymore because of all of the pressure. And it's like it's also it's like you were saying, it's on the parents, because it's like it's funny because I can always tell in a group of girls whose parents actually, I hate to say it, but actually like genuinely care about them. Because I'll see a group of girls and it's like booty shorts, but it's like booty shorts and like a bra with their venti Starbucks. I'm like, why are you tired first? And then I'm like, but then I look over, right? And there's like this girl and she's like in black capris with a t-shirt with a little like like something cute t-shirt from like they got at Disney World.
Right.
And she has no coffee, just like a lemonade. And I'm like,
right.
Your parents care about you.
Right.
I'm just being honest though. And they're, because it's like when they're 10. It's like if I
so
see that and they're 10.
To me, I'm like, oh, she's so precious. Like, Lord, like protect her. Like, let her be a kid, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Between the makeup and the skincare, which are not bad things, because I will say back in the day too, like, girl, I loved me some hard candy. I loved me some Elf when it was $1. Like, I don't know if you remember that, when all the Elf stuff.
But it's like we're now telling girls to get skincare lines that are like hundreds of dollars, and they need all this stuff. It's like back in the day, like my skincare. Don't even get me started on my skincare. When I was 10, that's what I'm talking. Like, that's the age group. Like, I get it. When you turn 16, 17, you're slowly moving into adulthood. You should be, you know, on a little bit of a different level with the skincare and the makeup. I totally get that. When you're 10 to 13, even 10 to 14, I'm like, what is your skincare? What do you need that for? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm scrubbing myself with the Aveeno face wash, and I'm like, done. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not over here like, here's my $100 eye peel mask. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
but the
scrubbing my face. I'm like,
they weren't on social media seeing all of these people doing this. Like, they wouldn't be doing it, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy, literally.
And so my last question for you is, do you think, we kind of touched on it, so I feel like I know your answer, but do you think that Sabrina Carpenter is a part of a bigger problem in society today?
Yes. Whether she knows it or not, because I could go on a whole rabbit hole about just Hollywood as a whole right now, and how it has been for a long time. But yeah, I just think it's bigger agendas. Like, I don't like how they might not be doing it intentionally, but I feel like with her, it's just targeting a younger audience. She looks young. Like, I'll even say too, I literally just had this thought, like, for example, again, we'll say Miley Cyrus, because I was a Hannah Montana girl. My name's Hannah Montana.
Literally have a Hannah Montana shirt in my closet as we speak, and I be rocking that baby. But,
like, when she kind of started going against the grain, you know, with her management, with Disney, I don't know how her contract was. Like, she started wearing the heavier makeup. I think she dyed her hair like way darker. I don't know if she was ever like jet black, but you could just tell like she was trying to target an older audience
demographic.
Yes. And with Sabrina, I just thought it was funny how they're not doing that. I feel like they're intentionally trying to keep this younger, innocent looking group, if that makes sense. Like, that was something that I noticed. And to be honest, after, you know, the album she just put out, Man's Best Friend or whatever, that album cover, I know there was a whole thing about that. I don't keep up with all this, so I was like, oh, that's interesting. Shocking, but not surprising. You know, she might change, I don't know, in the future, but I do think it is definitely affecting the younger generation. And honestly, probably a lot of these parents and even these kids we're just so desensitized, I feel like, with everything that's going on. Like, they don't even understand what it's doing or what it's going to do in the future. That's
such a good point, the being desensitized, because it's like, you're right. Like, when Miley Cyrus went off the rails, that was a huge deal. And to me as a child, it was wildly inappropriate.
Very inappropriate.
And now I look back now where I'm at, and I'm like, that's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Like, I'm like, that's okay. Like, can't be tamed stuff. Like, obviously not, you know, then we went a little bit further, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a little good. But the can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, can't be tamed and everything. It's like, I mean, if that happened today, it'd be like, oh, that's sad that she doesn't want to do that. But it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, but it comes from being desensitized about topics like that. And it doesn't help when we have artists like this just simply coming out and
have you ever tried this?
Putting it all out there to see. And that's such a good point, too, about her intentionally, looking younger and trying to dress younger and everything else.
That was just a big thing that I noticed. And I don't know.
Obviously, you can tell now versus when she was on Girl Meets World. Like, she literally looked like a child. But the thing with Hollywood and, like, the entertainment industry, like, they know what they're doing. Like, everything is so strategic. I was just like, yeah, I see that. So... yeah.
Well, do you have anything else to add before I sign us off?
Not really. Something crazy I found out the other day. I just realized the last High School Musical came out in 2008, senior year.
My friend and I were having this conversation like that we're getting old because, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour was kind of a revival thing. I'm gonna go see the Jonas Brothers in October. Like that's kind of like their revival tour.
Yes.
It's like, are we that old that we're like watching the people that we listened to when we were kids, like coming back and like for their revival stuff? It's like,
I know, and I feel like we're not that old.
Yeah,
like,
we're not.
I don't know.
We're not.
I feel like
we're not old.
We fell in this weird like in between. I feel like, so we're getting up there, but not quite old yet. But yeah, 2008, senior year, 2008.
Wow.
I sat there in that movie theater, dragged my dad to go, bless his heart, and cried. Once that curtain closed.
So did I. So did I. I think I cried. I think the part that I cried in during High School Musical 3 was there's the big debacle between whether Troy was going to follow Gabriella or if he was going to go do his own thing. And at the end, when he announces to the whole school, for some reason they were all like saying where they're going to go to school. I'm like, does this happen in public school? I didn't know. I was
we don't know. We were homeschooled.
I was like, do you guys do that? I'm like, do you guys do this? Like announce to everybody what you're doing, but okay.
Right.
Like when you're homeschooled at the homeschool graduation, they're like, this is Tyler. He went to the Tyler school of his family, and Tyler is planning on staying at home with his family, and that's like that's how our homeschool.
But anyways, verse to you too.
Yeah,
which is
and everybody's verse is usually like the same 3 verses over and over and over and over and over and over. But during High School Musical 3, it's when Troy tells the whole school that he's going to pick a school that he can play basketball at and do musical theater at, and it's super close to Gabriella. Lost my ever-loving mind. Because I was like, now I need my Troy Bolton.
I know.
And now he looks wacko.
They're not
I'm like, buddy, what did you do?
Movies like that anymore. That's the thing.
No, now they're like on Zombies 5 or something. They're making like these zombie movies or whatever. I'm like, no, you don't really do that. Like even what was their ones about like the kid Disney villain, like the sons and daughters of the villains.
Not Magnificent. Descendants.
Yes. Like even that didn't have the same vibe.
The soundtracks are kind of fire. I have listened to those, but yeah, I'm like, okay, it was
just not the same vibe. Like I'm like, it's not the same.
Like we had,
I'm not getting it.
Rock. We had High School Musical. What else did we have? Like
Lemonade Mouth,
Jump In.
Starstruck was my jam. Loved that movie.
No, that literally just unlocked something in my brain. I had a hyperfixation with that movie for a while. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's so good.
Yes, it was good. It was good.
But it's also going back to like what you were saying though too. It's like it actually like as dumb and as cheesy and as silly as they were like looking back on it. It's like, but you can look back on it and go, oh, that's the lesson. I get it. Like that's what you're trying to at least like tell me what to say versus like they're on like Zombies 5, Return of the Zombies for the 5th frickin' time, and it's like, what is this?
We didn't ask for this. We didn't ask for this.
I'm like, does anybody even watch Disney Channel anymore? Because that was a huge deal. Like I had to have that on at all times.
And do you remember like, I literally remember being at my grandma's house in the back room, which was the playroom they made for us and all of us grandkids. I was with my older cousin Bethany. We were like, literally, she was my built-in older sister. We were laying on the floor. Grandma made us popcorn, and we were waiting for the first High School Musical to be an original movie on. Like, I literally remember that. When Gabriella came out, when they were on that ski trip, and he's like pushed in to sing the mic, and Zac Efron isn't even singing in the whole first movie. That was a whole other thing too. I about lost it when I found out he didn't even sing. That, like, just things like that. The kids these days, they ain't got it like that. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember with High School Musical 2, on DisneyChannel.com, you could vote for, like, certain things that were in the movie. So you could, like, vote for the T-shirt that Corbin Bleu was going to wear. You could vote for, like, the special guest at the end of the movie. Like, this is a core memory because that was the first time where I was like, my vote matters. And I was, like, so little. Like, I'm pushing out get out to vote stuff, like, on my social media. I'm like, get out to vote, links in bio, DisneyChannel.com. Like, I'm basically their campaign manager. Like, I was a true Dace before, like, being a Dace even began for me. Like, I was literally like, hey guys, I'm like posting videos. I'm like asking all my friends. I'm like, did you guys vote? I like remembered. I'm like, are you guys voting?
But it was really that serious.
It was. Oh, and I remember watching the movie and being like, that's the shirt I voted for Corbin to wear. You know what I'm saying? Or being like, I voted for Miley Cyrus like 20 times to be at the end of this movie. And I remember like watching, like, at the end, like waiting for, and she came out, and I remember like literally losing it because I'm like, I voted for this.
You're like, guys, we did it.
Or like when they would post their choreography, they'd be like, learn the choreography with us. I have a distinct memory of running upstairs, putting on my workout clothes, and like coming back down and like hitting play and like constantly like rewinding to like try to get the steps right.
No, because I think it's in storage right now, but every single my stomach hurts. I'm laughing so hard. I would make my dad go out, and bless his heart, like, girl dads are a different breed. Like, literally, thank you so much, Dad.
Yes.
Amazing. I would make him go out and buy the movie on the day it, like, came out to Walmart or whatever, because they'd always have a display. And I think in the first one, they had, like, a disc just for extra, like, scenes in the dances.
Oh, my goodness.
And me and that same cousin Bethany, bro, we would be in her basement. Yes, the little Sophie shorts on, like little cut up t-shirts, like we're all in this, like, bro, going ham. And hours. Spending hours doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Memory of
like kids today don't get that. They don't get that.
No, they don't.
Because it's just not the same. And I wish they had that. Like, I'm planning on showing Autumn only like the old stuff. Like, I want to treat like Hannah Montana and stuff. Like, I want to treat it like it's on right now. Right. But like she'll know it's not. But I want to be like only one episode a week. Like when Hannah has to decide between Jesse and Jake, I'm gonna be like, she's gonna be like, what happens? I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be like, he could be the one part 2 airs next week.
Right.
You're going to have to wait.
And the fact
until it airs.
We had to wait a whole week, too. Mm-hmm. I feel like with streaming, everything's like a whole season.
Yeah.
That's even crazy thinking back on that, too. Oh, man. So funny.
Well, anyways, we got off track. It's okay.
Our bad.
This was Let's Talk, episode 24. Let's talk about Sabrina Carpenter.